Hello, our ingredients for natural chestnut pudding are ready. I have half a bowl of butter in a small bowl, drawing attention with its wonderful aroma, 1 bowl of wheat flour, the foundation of the pudding, 1 bowl of sugar here for sweetness, 1 bowl of molasses, adding a deep flavor, a few pieces of salt and ice, balancing elements. Finally, 300 grams of chestnut kernels, the star of this recipe. Chestnuts are a true treasure of health. Our 300 grams of chestnut kernels are full of vitamins B and C, ease digestion thanks to fiber, boost energy, and are even heart-friendly. We add 1 liter of milk to our dessert. Milk cream with its velvety texture enlivens desserts. It offers a rich, creamy taste, making every bite harmonious. Now, friends, we will prepare the chestnuts for natural chestnut pudding. I will have 300 grams of chestnut kernels in my hand, but first, we start with them in their shells. I will explain the stages of scoring, boiling, resting, and peeling the chestnuts. I will also talk about easy techniques and desserts that can be made with chestnuts. If you're ready, let's begin. The first step is scoring the chestnuts with a knife. Using a sharp knife, we make a 1 to 2 centimeter incision on the round surface of each chestnut. It is enough to cut only the outer shell, no need to go deep. To make scoring easier, you can soak the chestnuts in warm water for 10 to 15 minutes. This softens the shells. Special chestnut knives are also a practical option. After scoring, we move on to the boiling stage. We place the chestnuts in a pot filled with plenty of water and bring them to a boil. Once the water boils, we set a timer for 12 minutes. This allows the insides to soften and the shells to separate. When the 12 minutes are up, we turn off the stove but do not remove the chestnuts from the water. Now, a 12-minute resting period begins. Letting them sit in hot water loosens the shells and inner skin. Don't rush this step as it is important. Now it's time for peeling. We drain the chestnuts and start peeling them while they are warm. If they cool down, the shells may harden. We pull the shell open from the scored part. If the inner skin is stubborn, you can scrape it off with a teaspoon. A tip for easy peeling. After taking the chestnuts out of the water, wrap them in a towel and let them sit for 5 minutes. The steam will loosen the shells. Alternatively, you can roast the scored chestnuts at 200 degrees for 20 minutes and let them rest in a towel. The shells will separate easily. The chestnuts are ready. You can make other desserts besides pudding. Chestnut cake, for example. Mash them into a puree, mix them with flour and sugar, and top with chocolate sauce. For candied chestnuts, boil them in sugar water and add vanilla. Chestnut profiteroles are delightful when the creamy puffs are filled with chestnut puree and drizzled with chocolate. Chestnuts are both delicious and versatile in desserts. We have peeled our chestnuts, now it's time to turn them into a sweet delight. Our 300 grams of peeled chestnut kernels are ready. We place them in a deep pot, add 250 grams of sugar and 250 grams of water. The sugar adds sweetness to the chestnuts, while the water adjusts the consistency. We place the pot on the stove and let it boil over medium heat. Once the water starts boiling, we set the timer for 15 minutes. This allows the chestnuts to absorb the sugary water and become soft. We stir occasionally to ensure the sugar is evenly distributed. After 15 minutes, the chestnuts will be slightly syrupy. Now, we transfer them to a wide pan, increase the heat, and boil them until they absorb all the liquid. This process is quick over high heat. The chestnuts take on a glossy caramelized appearance. Once they have fully absorbed the liquid, we remove them from the stove. This method makes the chestnuts both sweet and long-lasting. We have reached the exciting stages of our natural chestnut pudding. Our chestnuts are ready. Now we will turn them into pudding. In the previous steps, we scored the chestnuts, boiled them for 12 minutes, let them rest in water for 12 minutes, and peeled them. Then we boiled 300 grams of peeled chestnuts with 250 grams of sugar and 250 grams of water for 15 minutes and reduced the liquid in a wide pan. The chestnuts may break apart, but that's not a problem. They will blend into the pudding for flavor, though we won't be able to use them whole for decoration. Now, I will explain each step in order. Let's keep creating wonders in the kitchen. First, we will prepare a caramelized base. We put 250 grams of sugar in a deep pot, add 250 grams of water, and place it on the stove. Over medium heat, we let the sugar dissolve, waiting patiently without stirring so it turns a caramelized color. Once the sugar melts and turns golden, we add another 200 milliliters of water. This will slightly dilute the mixture. Immediately after, we pour 1 bowl of molasses into the pot. Molasses will add a deep flavor to the pudding. As the mixture starts to boil, a wonderful aroma spreads, but we don't stop. We move on to the next pan. We place a wide pan on the stove and start roasting 1 bowl of wheat flour inside it. We stir the flour continuously until it releases its fragrance and heats up thoroughly. Before the flour turns golden, while it is just warm, we add half a bowl of butter. Once the butter melts and combines with the flour, we roast it a little more. This will enrich the pudding's consistency. While the scent of flour and butter fills the air, we return to the caramel sugar mixture in the other pot. Once the caramelized sugar and molasses mixture starts to boil, we slowly add 1 liter of milk. While adding the milk, we stir continuously to prevent lumps. When the mixture becomes smooth, we carefully transfer it to the warm flour and butter mixture in the pan. As the two mixtures combine, we add a few pieces of salt. The salt balances the sweetness and enhances the flavor. Now it's time for the chestnuts. We add the 300 grams of chestnut kernels that we boiled with sugar. The chestnuts may have broken apart, but this will blend into the pudding's texture, so it's not a problem. After combining the mixture, we adjust its consistency. If you prefer, you can blend it until smooth, but I like it slightly chunky, so I mix it with a whisk. It's both practical and maintains the desired texture. The lightly crushed chestnuts give the pudding a rustic feel. As a final touch, I add a few pieces of ice. The ice quickly cools the mixture and helps bind the texture. I give it one last mix with the whisk, and the pudding starts to thicken. Now, our pudding is ready. It's time to serve it in bowls. We can use glass or porcelain containers. I prefer crystal coupe bowls to add elegance, as they look both eye-catching and refined. I distribute the pudding into bowls, ensuring each gets an equal amount. I had planned to use whole chestnuts for decoration, but since they broke apart, I only have a few intact pieces left, so I used them. I had set aside some milk cream. Now I add a teaspoon of cream on top of each bowl. The creamy texture of the milk cream pairs wonderfully with the pudding, almost crowning the dessert. The bowls are ready, now for the tasting. I take a spoonful, and the pudding melts in my mouth. The slightly grainy chestnuts, the sweetness of caramelized sugar, the intense aroma of molasses, and the softness of the cream come together. The roasted scent of butter and flour is felt in every bite. The salt has balanced the flavors so well that it's neither too sweet nor bland. It's just right. The ice has made the pudding cool and refreshing without compromising flavor. It's exquisite, I say to myself, or even out loud. This pudding is both natural and satisfying. The time spent in the kitchen was well worth it. Let me summarize what we did. Don't forget to support our channel, friends. Watch the videos from start to finish, give them a like, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Also, share the videos with your friends who comment. Later, you can play these videos on your computer while sleeping, letting them run from start to finish. Thank you in advance for your support.